Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Camerado and Patriot Patch Company. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing
We're
good.
here.
Yeah,
How are you, Michael? How are you doing tonight?
okay.
Is that place to be? Okay.
It's better than not good.
Right.
Yeah, I've been to both.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a nice place. Not good. I don't want to go back here.
Uh,
How are you doing, Mr. Brother Nelson?
I am doing pretty good.
Are you at
They,
home now?
no, I'm still at. They moved my surgery up to the 4th of September, so that's good, and that'll take me off of med, and that'll to be able to go home after about 2 weeks of recuperation there. So I'm happy.
Good enough.
Yeah. I got 106 GT rounds that I have to go out and fire for them. So something's going on.
Don't forget to record that against your round count.
Oh, right now the barrel's got 0 in it, so that's the first 100.
You bet. I know you're not worried about it.
Yeah, even got my new book for it and everything else. So
What's that board diameter? 6.5?
6 millimeter, 6
Oh,
GT.
244.
Yep.
240.244.
Yep. Um, 6 GT. It's a little bigger than a bench rest Kate and smaller than my X6XC. So it runs about 30, 34 to 35 grains of powder max. So it's not real heavy charge, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still move out a 6 millimeter bullet on the heavy side close to 3,000 feet per second. So
105?
yeah, 105.
6,000. Sorry. 6 millimeter, 105.
3,000
300, yeah,
3,000 feet per second. Yeah.
Thank you. That's not bad. You're parking right along.
Yeah. But it's to get there it's high pressure, just so everybody knows. I mean, um, it's a 63,000 psi cartridge.
So you're right up there just against max.
Yeah.
Well, with my 30-30, I can make a 55 grain go 4,000 feet per second.
Yeah.
It can be done.
It's happened in loads.
Yep.
Some of
We
the
had
guys.
a guy.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Paul. Okay.
No.
I was just going to remind the audience and you, Paul. We had a guy on here one night. Honest to God, he pushed he had a 300 rum, 300 Remington Ultra Magnum,
Ken from Texas.
saboted load, 223 diameter, 224 diameter bullet, 5K.
Yeah.
5,000. I think he said 5,040 feet per second.
Mm-hmm. And then Matt and Heinrich from Geeks, Gadgets, and Guns were motivated by that, and they took and actually got, I think, a 22 pellet to go a mile a second.
Oh my God.
The best I got at the 55 grainer to move was about 5,200.
Yeah.
So,
Wait a second. A 22 pellet is much lighter than a 224 diameter, 223 diameter bullet.
Right.
Why couldn't Matt? Are you talking about Matt from Geek Sketch Guns?
Yeah.
And he pushed that pellet up to what? 5,000? 5280?
Yeah.
That'd be higher than that.
53 and some change, I think.
It gets to be a little hard to chronograph them past that
Yeah.
that fast. The lab radars and all that kind of stuff don't work on that. So,
Well, you know what? I bet it has a lot to do with the size of the boat. You put a 458 Win Mag in that thing, 505 grain bullet. I'll bet you that chronograph will read that at 5K.
yeah.
But I'm not going. I don't know the gun that would shoot it. Number one. Number two, I wouldn't shoot the damn thing anyway. That's a shot. That's a.
Yeah, well, just because you got to use a 40 millimeter Bofors case to get there,
Exactly.
it's still that would still not make it a bad weapon, would it? No, I mean, it's not a NFA controlled weapon,
Right.
No.
so.
No. But it would not be a shoulder fired weapon. It would be mounted on a pintle.
Well, like I
fixed
say,
of some kind.
yeah, you just have to have a heavy bipod. That's all.
I'll let you shoot the first load or two.
But
oh, poor BG.
Yeah, so
poor
the problem
BG.
they ran into is they could not get the 5.56 or the 223 bullet to stabilize. It kept tumbling.
Right. I remember he said that.
kept tumbling, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Probably wasn't in the rifling long enough to stabilize. That's right. It wasn't even against the rifling. It's a saboted load.
Yeah, but the sabots are designed to spin, and the problem was the bullet was spinning inside the sabot.
Ah. I remember
Probably the sabots were stripping out. If the bullet is tumbling,
well, what was happening, because he just shot this with high speed.
Yeah.
And what was happening is the sabot was going through the rifling, but the bullet wouldn't stay stable, wouldn't stay in the sabot. It was spinning in the sabot so it wasn't rotating at the same rate that the sabot was. It was rotating at a different rate as it was going down the barrel.
Okay. So we needed to have a new barrel made with a game twist.
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a 224 diameter bullet. If it was 224, it sounded like the sabot wasn't molded properly, injected, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, wasn't manufactured correctly for the diameter of the bullet.
Well, I mean, you could super glue this.
He's got a bunch of videos out there. You can go check it out. It's on LFD Research.
You could super glue the bullet to the sabot. That way it would,
yeah.
And then, as long as you just super glue the back end of it, the fingers would fold back on it and probably come off.
It'd be interesting to try.
Yep.
I'll see if I've got issues with it, and do that.
And the thing that you made come in my mind with that idea, Michael, would be the paper wrap bullets. Remember those?
Yeah.
What's that?
Paper wrap.
2 or 3 reps around it, right?
Oh, paper patch, yeah.
Paper patch, yeah. I said paper wrap.
Yeah, same thing.
My tank is definitely tumbled tonight.
Well, your paper patch is an interesting thing that a lot of people have never done, and there's an art to it. So, um, you know, getting the laying the paper out, rolling the
He was
bullet
using a
into it.
magneto speed.
Okay.
So
Remember the old green and white bar paper with the dot matrix printer? The
Yeah.
old paper like that, they say that was just about perfect. Two reps of that on a 30 caliber bullet. Or they cut strips of it. That's right.
yeah.
Strips about so long.
Yep.
Yep.
And they make a nice tight fit in the rifling. They're shooting pure lead bullets at 3,000 feet per second accurately.
Shot 4 was a 36 grain. So I'm just watching the video here. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. This is they were shooting different things out of the sabot out of a 30-06. A 36 grain varmint grenade was 43.53. A 17 grain Nod lead pellet was 44.01. 14.3 grain lead pellet. No speed. 8.6 grain ceramic ball bearing. No speed.
Ooh, no speed.
Yeah.
Didn't read it. Okay.
No. 55 grain FMJ was 42.04, and this is out of an odd 6, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So 35 grain interceptor. Just absolutely rocked the ballistic gel, but there's no speed on it. This is LFD research. You guys need to go take a look. So
too bad he didn't have one of the old conographs, one that with the screens on it.
Yeah.
Where you shoot through the screens. That might have been able to read it.
So anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna play with. If the 30-06 didn't hurt to shoot, I'd turn it into a freaking prairie dog load.
It don't hurt to shoot, not with a 50 grain bullet in there. You're nah.
Oh, it's still a full powder charge. So, but
Can't be that much recoil, even with powder charge.
I don't know. I'll tell you when I make some up. It is out of a 1903, so they are a little heavier. So Daniel said that 4300 is about as fast as he had his 22-250. I'm pretty sure you've had yours faster, Paul.
Yeah, but those are really light bullets and they don't go very far accurately.
Right.
So, but you can get the 35 grainers to really scream.
Use that for a home defense load.
Yeah. So if I went here.
And he did test putting the sabots in a 300 blackout, but the 55 grain 5.56 actually outperformed the sabot, so he decided that was pointless.
Okay.
But a 308, however, or a 30-30 lever gun for home defense. Explaining that to the officer, why is his guts all over the wall? Well, you've heard of a varmint grenade bullet, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's what happens when you shoot something at 4,500 feet per second with it. Hey, if we did that, I bet you we could get the prairie dogs to turn into that lovely pink mist.
That's right. That's right. do here?
The only drawback is I don't have a way to put a scope on my 1903 without screwing it up, and I'm not going to do that. So,
Okay.
and I'm not good enough to shoot irons at 300 yards.
No, I don't think many of us are.
So, I mean, if I had
Yeah.
to, but I don't have to. So, anyway,
Yeah.
so Jim, did you say what you've been up to?
Well, I was looking at picking up some subscriptions to magazines.
They still make those?
Yeah, I looked at that and I was like, no.
So,
For $2 for 12 magazines in a year's time, and then auto renew at full price. No, I don't think so.
you just got to remember to go and cancel.
Yep,
You set a
you're
reminder.
right.
So here's what you do: you use your Google Keep. If you've got Google Keep, otherwise you put a calendar event in your phone
Mm-hmm.
at the last month, and you
Mm-hmm.
just put an event in there to remind you to call in and cancel it, and then that's what
Oh
you
yeah,
do. That's what
I
I did
use
with my
Google.
Sirius XM because otherwise they jack your rates. So you call in to cancel, and then magically they're willing to give you a better rate again.
Yeah, we did that for a while,
So
but I use Google Keep every day.
yeah. BG Nagy said it's like wheels spinning inside the tire in some high-powered drag racing cars.
But that was back when we were talking about shooting 500 grain
Yeah, 155
bullets.
grainers. Yes. So
Yeah.
that's why they have bead locks. So or off-road vehicles, your rock climbing stuff. So anyway.
Yep. Well, I did get something a couple weeks ago. I've been on the show for a while, but I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
weren't here to show it off last week. So
Nice patch and sticker.
it is.
God bless Patriot Patch Company.
Yep. So yeah, definitely check out what Jake and Ryan are doing over there. You get patch of the month. You get what the morale patch, like Jim just showed you, and then you get so you get the morale patch. You get a sticker, which is upside down. Hang on, I got it figured out. So you get the morale patch and a sticker, and then you get the little
Ryan
rough
shaft is
drawing of
upside down, Mike. It's upside down.
what's
Thank you.
upside down. The drawing.
It was.
That drawing. I forgot because he puts that down there. So anyway, so yeah, you get Ryan's rough draft, and then you get the sticker and the patch for being a
What I
patch.
find amazing about these patches, Mike, is like the multitude of colors they use.
Yes. Yeah, it's
It's like,
pretty cool.
it is. It is.
So like here's just a couple of them, so you can kind of see. You know, they're always colorful. So, and then they make oddball stuff like this too. That was actually this was the April patch of the month this year, I think. So, but then they make cool ones like this too, which I haven't taken out of the package yet, but that's good for us reloaders, you know. So, yeah. So, yeah, definitely swing over, check them out. Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co. They also have other things like I should grab it out of the fridge or out of the garage and slap it on my safe back there, but they metal magnetic patch panels so you can put your morale patches on there and stuff. So, but they also make other stuff, clothing and other things. They make signs. If you look right there, that is the Circle of Life.
Poster.
Let's go
Yeah.
any better. That's the Circle of Life right there. That Jake made up a few years ago, and then one of our listeners made it into a clock for me. So, but yeah, swing over, check them out. PatriotPatch.co. It's pretty awesome stuff. So 2 weeks ago, we kind of went over some basic info on Shotshells and talked about kind of the differences and the same and straight wall versus tapered wall and wads and powder and shot and other things. Well, one of the things we didn't talk about very much was slugs. And so um, I found some of the Lee key slugs that somebody sent me that I'm going to load up too. But then BG Nagy was nice enough to send me some of the Russian sabots,
Ah,
the Balrogs, I think. But these use their own little wad, and so you literally just put your powder in, and then you seat this into the hull like you would a regular wad, but then you don't have any payload.
right. You don't drop any lead.
Yeah, because it's already on there. So.
Yeah, you just skip
It's
that.
the Sevrog, or the frick you pronounce that, paradox slug. So, I know some people have actually put these into a hull and then actually done the pedal folding, but I don't think that would work very well. So I've got to find out. I got to find one of my roll crimpers and then before next week, and then we'll show you how to load the slugs next week. And I'll grab those Lees out of the garage that I found and load those up too. So my kid has a I think it's a Rock Island. I don't know. He's got one of the Rock Island 12 gauge shotgun, one of the semi-autos. That's like the AR-12,
Okay.
and he needs to break it in. So I'm pretty sure loading up some slugs will be fun.
Yeah.
So either that or I'll take it goose hunting.
Last time I fired slugs, they seemed about comparable to 180 grain, 160 grain, 150 grain, full power loaded and not six. In
Yeah,
recoil.
they've got actually if it's a 2 3/4 slug, yes. Now if it's the 3 inchers, that's a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
That'd be more like a 303 Enfield or a 8mm Mauser full military load. So, but yeah, we need to break in his shotgun. So, I just got to remember to get an improved cylinder choke for it before I start firing slugs through it. So, I actually had it on hold originally. I was going to buy it because it came with a 5-round mag and then a 10-round mag. And for the 5-round mag, they actually have a duck plug for it.
Okay.
So yeah, as opposed to a tubular magazine, these are actually detachable box magazines.
Right.
And there's actually a spacer that you put in the magazine, so then you can only put 2 in it.
Okay.
So I might take a goose hunting. I haven't decided yet. I don't know. Ouch. Because I was going to use it for goose and turkey. That was my goal. But then he decided he really wanted it, so I'm like, all right, fine.
As long as you're not shooting them with slugs, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's chambered for 2 3/4 and 3 inch, and I've got my 3 inch steel that I dropped 2 geese with last year, so
Okay.
I may. I don't know. I guess if we get it broken in, if not, then I'm just gonna use my Mossberg 535. So,
There you go.
but anyway. So I mean, slugs, slugs is kind of more advanced reloading, but it's kind of not. I don't know. I guess it all depends on what you want to consider. I mean, some people just load slugs for, whatever. One of the nice things about those Lees is the Lees are actually supposed to work in a regular shot wad.
Yeah.
So,
But
um,
it's still, you have to, they still get away. They can get away with a folded crimp in it.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what the book says. Lyman used to make a Forster slug or Foster slug mold, but they don't anymore, which is annoying because I want to cast some slugs. But I guess the Sevrogs are supposed to be a lot better anyway.
Is Lee still making their key mold?
Yeah. Lyman still makes a mold too, but it's not the Foster slug, it's just a smooth.
I remember seeing them Brennicky loads too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
then
can still find.
I was
what
pretty
about
serious. Good.
bunch of the copper loads that are out now? You can
Oh, the Sabos
the
or the
Stabos
Sabos.
and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Savage makes their bolt action 12 gauge for deer hunters that
The 212 is the 12 gauge, and then the 220 is the 20,
right.
and they're rifled, fully rifled bulk action.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they don't have
For
loading data
people
for
that
that.
live in non-gun friendly states.
Lee drive key slug molds.
Yeah, it's there's probably a couple other ones that you could use as a slug in some of the shotgun loads.
Yeah, it looks like the Lees. Yeah, the Lees are designed for the Star Crimp.
Okay.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were, but I didn't want to quote for sure. But yeah, so the Lee drive keys, you actually put in a standard wad and you do the Star Crimp.
Okay.
So that'd be fun. We'll do some of those too. And then I'll shoot video from the range. but we're not going to do those tonight. That'll be next week. I did not get out to storage shed, and I'm pretty sure that's where my 20 gauge wads and hulls are. So I'm not going to be demonstrating the lead load all this week. Hopefully next week. So, but hi, Allie, you got to move, buddy. He says, no, I don't.
So what are we going to load today, Mike?
We're going to load up some trap loads
Ah, okay.
with 7.5.
Green dot?
What's that?
Green dot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 7.5 with green dot. So. And I will let everybody know what the load is and then tell them what the mech bushing is too. So, okay. So, what I have here, Lyman 5th edition Shotshell reloading book. If you're going to load Shotshells, you need this. Okay. So, let's see. Jim, you there? Hi, Jim. How you doing, Jim?
Doing better now that I've got my mic unmuted.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm going to have Paul explain that when he gets back. So, Jeff Daniels has a question.
I'll do it.
Oh dear. So, Jeff wants to know, should we talk about the differences between a trap and a skeet load? Yeah, we'll talk about those when Paul gets back. And BG and AG wants to know, are the mech and Hornady bushings interchangeable? Is there an adapter? I have the RCBS Mini Grand and the Horny, and he says, if I recall correctly, the Hornady bushings work. I don't remember off the top of my head, so let me look. It looks like the Hornady / Pacific are longer than the mech. So They're not quite the same. But excuse me. As far as an adapter, I don't know. Now there is a bunch of 3D printing options out there for bushings, so I would suspect. I know there's 3D printable mech bushings. I have no idea if there is for anything else, because I didn't need to worry about that for the Pacific. Because the bushings that Paul sent me are the ones that work great for what I needed. And then excuse me. I had a crap ton of mech bushings, which I sent to Sharenda, which I should make her send some back because she's not using them anyway. So she should have been on this tonight. Slacker. Anyway. All right. Now that I changed out the battery in the camera.
Really?
Yeah. Helps you take the lens cap off, though.
Hmm.
See? There you go. Anyway.
I thought I heard you say you took the camera out of the battery.
Maybe. It is possible. Okay, so maybe I gotta go back further. Damn it. See, I can't have this set up in advance because the dogs will come flying through and knock the hell out of it. So anyway. So what we have here is hulls flying all over the place. So we've got our old buddy Mac that we showed off last week. So as I was explaining, you've got the charge bar. You guys read that? I need a monitor over here.
Okay.
Focus?
Yep.
Okay. So we've got 302, which is the series number for the bar, and 114, which is your shot charge. So 1.25 ounces.
Right. Which is the maximum trap load.
Right. And then we have powder bushing number 37. And what we would have to do is look up to see which, for whatever powder I decide to use, how much it would throw for actually with this bushing. Now, when you look at the bar, you can kind of see this one has a bevel for the bushing, where this one doesn't. And by the way, this one's too small for the bushing anyway. So then you've got, And what you can do is you can actually set this so you can see the bushing number through that. That way you can, as you're sliding it back and forth, you can look and see what powder bushing you have in there. That way you know what you're throwing for a powder charge, theoretically. So this one was just for demonstration purposes, to show you the powder charge and powder bar thing. So because this one, by the way, this is actually a cover for a 9000 because they do not make a cover for the 600s. So it's got a little open access here, but basically it's a dust cover to keep dust from getting onto the press. So, and because I pull this out and use it every once in a while, I keep the cover on it. So as you can see, it's got powder and shot in it. So anyway, so what I've got here is I've got 3 AA hulls. I've got a one of the Fiocchi hulls because I wanted to show that off later. But what I've got, I don't have. Normally, I have a little pan here to catch the primers when they fall out, but I don't have that. I don't know where the heck it went. So, oh wait a minute. Maybe I do. Maybe I gave it to Sharenda. Anyway, I was trying to be really nice to Sharenda and set her up with a whole bunch of stuff. So, anyway, so what I want to do now is that's way too loose. Okay. So here is that wad depth setting I was telling you about. And this is adjustable, and then you can change how far down it pushes the wad into the hull. It's one of those things you play with until you get it right. So, however, the other thing I want to show you, a couple other things. So that other one, if I was going to use it, I'd have to load each individual primer down in here. You can kind of see on the bottom. But this one, I've got it set up with an auto feed. So as you're operating, there's a lever here that swings back and forth and feeds one primer. It drops down in as I'm going. So I don't have to worry about feeding a primer. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is this has micrometer adjust. It also has, if I can remember where the heck they are. So basically, you can adjust micrometer. There's a little Allen screw in here to act as a set screw to lock it in place. So that way, when you're sliding it back and forth, it doesn't adjust. You still got your screw here to hold it in. Then you've got your little hole there. This is so you can see as you're sliding across, you can see your powder bushing like the other bar. This is a slightly newer version of that 600 that I just showed you. So that's why it looks a little different. As they went through, they did minor updates. So, and this one will actually load 2.5 or 2 3/4 and 3. There's adjustability built in here. I can change the height there and the 3-inch hulls. So, you can buy a kit, so you can actually do 2.5s, or you can buy so you can do 3.5s. Mech makes a kit for those. This thing here is a powder baffle that came with the charge bar. So, and because this is sitting in the middle, I'm going to make a mess one way or another. So, basically how it works is, let's put that there and put that down and see what we get, kids. Paul, what do you think I got?
Oh, I think you got powder. As you just moved over, got to shot.
Correct. So one of my favorite parts of these bottles, which is why I have the little ones on here, is I can actually take this and dump it right back in. And then I can put this back under. Oops, should have pulled the lever down. Yeah, so those little you heard were lead pellets.
Yeah.
So
Lever has to be pulled down before you push the bar over.
I don't know if I'll be able to show this off or not. So but I guess I can just put it in the palm of my hand. And so that is a 7.5. You can see it's tiny. So the only reason I'm pulling that down is so that the wad feeder goes back up. So then what I can do with this, somebody push that into her. Damn it. That's what happens when you have your kids help you. Come on. Come on. So the idea is just kind of have these sitting in here while you're actually loading. And then when you're done, you want to push them down in tight so they stay. Because this whole entire thing tips backwards so you can actually unscrew the bottles without making a mess. So
As long as you got the plastic stoppers in the bottom of the bottle.
Yeah. Learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your Lyman 5th edition. Okay. I know what I have. I have a Winchester AA hull. Okay, set that down. And it's 2 3/4 inch. So what I'm looking for is in these, they've got tabs. So like this is heavy shot right now. I don't want heavy shot. This is steel shot. I don't want steel shot. This is bismuth shot. I don't want bismuth. And then obviously the largest is the lead shot. So I don't know if you guys can actually read any of these pages as flipping through, but so now I'm at Winchester HS or compression formed plastic cases, fold crimp. So, which the HS is the newer style double A's, but so as you go through, it's got the different manufacturers and the different types of hulls. For the most part, it's all 2 3/4 inch load data because nobody really loads. These are 3-inch, 3.5, and then you're into your 10 gauge. So 10 gauge 3.5 is standard. So you're in here. So I'm going to shoot it 1.25 ounces or 1.125 ounces. Actually, I think is what I got it loaded for. I better check. What is this? Damn it.
Jeff, the normally you adjust powder by using a bushing.
Yeah.
So you change bushings to according to the book it'll tell you how many grains of powder each bushing is going to handle by the powder. Otherwise, he's got a micrometer on this one here. He has to look up what the load data is and then adjust the micrometer with a scale to drop the powder charge that he needs. You'll find that even with the bushings, you still should check what the powder drop is, because sometimes it runs a little high, sometimes it runs a little low.
Yep. So I don't remember.
Yes, Jeff. Again, the charge bars are you look on the end of the charge bar to see if there's a weight that you are supposed to drop um, for your lead shot, and then there's the bushing is going to determine how much powder you drop.
Yeah.
As he was showing in the beginning, he was showing you the marking of what um, the bar was going to drop in lead shot. So that's got a hole that's bored in it, and that's it. The other side would take a bushing, and the bushing would correlate to the powder and the wad that he's loading.
And what I'm doing right now, because I don't remember how much shot I'm throwing. It might be one. Yep. So I'm throwing a 1-ounce shot, which is a little light for a normal trap load. But I think this was set up for the boys back when they switched. Works fine for me when I'm dropping trap. Last time I drilled 20 out of 25 with this load. So, and how I got to that, I didn't turn the camera and everything. I threw the shot charge. I've got my National Metallic scale over here. I flipped it over to grams, dumped the shot in there, and then converted the grams over to ounces. So that's how I figured that out. And there you go. So now I know I'm throwing an ounce charge. Okay. So like Paul said, on the charge bar on the end, and actually I can do that quick. Let's see here. Okay, so here, oh, that's progressive. I don't want that. On single stage. Okay, so this is what your charge bar looks like. This is the newer design, and the reason they did this is because this little white thing right here, you can pop those out if you're going to load steel. Um, or I mean, you're going to lose not lead, but bismuth or other things. So they made that. Plus, it also helps absorb a little more if you get any shot in there. What happens over time with the old bars, the old design, is you would smash shot into that, and eventually it would mar that up. So, but if you can see there, wrong way. Well, that's no fun. But if you can see here, it says 302, and then it says 11. What says 114 though? Why would it say 114? Unless they just use a general picture, maybe. Anyway. So, so here's your bushings. So what this is your so here gives a better picture of your what your end of your charge bar looks like. So it's going to have this that there. This I can actually blow up. So you've got here. So the 502 indicates progressive, 302 indicates single stage, and then this indicates your shot load. So, and then on your steel charge, it indicates what size steel it'll load. So, and that's to help with this. Like I said, it's to help with the steering of shot, so your pattern stays a little better. And then here is your bushing chart. So I'll blow this up a little bit so you guys can see this. So here's your bushing number. And then your brand of powder. So you got your ram shot here, you got your accurate here, Alliant here, IMR, Hodgdon, Winchester. So I'm actually shooting green dot. Unfortunately, the way this is, you can't really tell. But here's your bushing numbers. So say I've got, say with that 37 bushing that I had in that other bar, what you would do is remember where the green dot is. So it's the third one over. So I've got the 37, and then I go 3 over. So that would throw approximately a 23.2 grain powder charge. Okay. Sean, that's what's actually I've got on this press is the adjustable powder bar. This is the older version. There's somebody that's got a new one out that looks like it's a lot better machined and everything. This was the Canadian company that went under. So I can show that quick. So this is the shot side and the powder side, and it's micrometer adjustable. There's a little set screw in here. Like I said, there's a newer design that's better that I want to get, but it's also $100, and I got other things to spend $100 on, so that'll wait. All right. So now I know I'm throwing 1 ounce shot. So I've got my book here. So I'm going to look for, and the way this is laid out, I don't know if I can. Let's see if I can just show off one page here. Anyway. There we go. So it lists your powder, and then your charge, your primer, your wad, expected velocity, and expected pressure. That's how that does this. Up at the top is your what type of hull, your gauge and length, and then your charge weight. So this is 1 ounce. So what I'm looking for right now in my 1 ounce is I'm looking for green dot. So, and green dot's down here. Green dot's only got 3 options. And I am actually loading the Win WA12 or WAA12 SL. I don't know if you guys can read that. So it's a 19.5 charge weight, and it's expected to do 1174, but it's only 8,300 psi. So really low charge. So that makes it a little nicer shooter. That's kind of nice, but I really like using the WAA 12s for wads or the equivalents in clay busters. They work out well, so they pattern well, and they're consistent. That's the key with these is you got to find a wad combination that's consistent. So primers, Paul, how serious you're getting the right primer?
Primers can make or break your load as you pattern, but
Is it more important than in metallic?
I don't think so. I won't say yes or no on that. I used a lot of CCIs and I used a lot of Winchesters. And depending what I could buy the most of at the time is what I went with. And they were all 209s. Okay. So you had 109s you could get or 209s. 209s were the primer that we chose. And as long as you were loading consistently with CCIs or consistently with Winchesters, you may have to adjust your powder charge one way or another. Any of the other ones, I'm not going to go there. I mean, there's Fiocchi, there's lots of different ones out there. Some of them fit better than others.
Yep.
Some of them will stretch the primer pockets out, and you won't be able to use anything but those. And yeah, that's as far as I would go on primers.
Yeah, I stick to Winchester, and I try and stick to Winchester.
Yeah.
If I can't find Winchesters, I'll use CCIs. But otherwise, I try and stick to Winchesters. It's the ones I've had absolutely the best luck with.
Yes. Yes.
Consistently. CCIs, I don't know what it is about them. CCIs metallic primers are amazing. Those are my go-to. For Shotshell, it's Winchester. Just nothing but. I've talked to a couple of people that are just higher than a kite on Federals. I've tried Federals, and it doesn't work. They're not consistent. So
Yeah, I've Federals are okay in a Federal hull.
yes,
Okay,
that would be the exception.
you
But
know.
I can take a Winchester primer, and I can throw it in a Winchester. I can throw it in a Remington. I can throw it in a Fed.
Right.
I can throw it in Fiocchi's. Rios you can't because Rios are a different diameter. Because Rios are real
Yeah.
pain in the ass. And you'll get into older hulls and like Sean just said he's got old Remington 157 primers because there is some older Remington cases that's all they'll take.
Right.
Actually, I think they're Peters, aren't they? More
Yes.
than Remingtons.
Yeah.
So the old Peters, not the new ones. But you're not going to find a lot of those laying around anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're looking for primers and you see Winchesters, it's a pretty good bet you can grab some if you needed to just grab some primers and figure it out. So
Winchesters were, people have to understand, Winchesters were really made to shoot with ball powder because that's what, so they're pretty much sealed up, and uh, there isn't any hole for the powder to migrate into,
right.
which on some of the Federals and the other manufacturers have. So um, Winchester was always good that way as far as being able to handle different powders and with ease, and not produce high pressures.
So what he's talking about is you look in the bottom of this primer and you see brass. Now there are primer companies out there for 209 primers. There's a hole there, and you get powder in there, and you can get up to probably what, half grain, you think, maybe?
Oh yeah, you know,
And that's huge because then your load doesn't burn right, and if you're not getting it, it's not consistent. So,
right.
but um, yeah, I mean, just like everything else, it's a process. So let's show you that process. So I got my hull. Ta-da! I've got a wad. Ta-da! I've got powder, I've got shot, and I got primers. So now, one of the problems I'm going to have right now is I don't have a primer down here. And what this is got a little spring in it, so it's got a little bit of give to it. But I don't have a primer in there right now. And I gotta have a primer in there. See, the way this press works is as you crimp, it's set up here, so there's a lever that actuates that, and it drops a primer down. So that way you got a primer to go. Well, obviously when I'm loading and then I'm done for a while, I don't keep putting primers down there because I don't want one sitting down there. So what I've got is I've got my little cover set up, and I just take my primer that I pull out and I set it right here. There's a little gap in there, and I can just literally pick that up, drop my primer in, and I'm good to go. So what you do is there's a little hole here. Like I said, normally I got a little cup there to catch it, but I don't. So, and I'm not loading a lot. So, if I'm loading low brass, I don't bother grabbing out the cool, um, especially if it's just a second loading or whatever. Um,
The mech,
I
uh,
don't
uh,
I don't haul this thing out.
yeah,
So whatever the hell it's called, I never remember.
grabber.
So, but like I said, how this works is you put the hull in and you push down, and it's kind of like a taper crimp. It just resizes it. So, um, but I don't really have to worry about that problem for the most part. Um, Now these actually, full disclosure, these actually have all been resized because these were the second loading on these. So I actually went through and resized them all before I put them in the container I store them in. So anyway, so how it works is you got to make sure you got it lined up. It doesn't auto align, so you got to make sure it's lined up. You pull it down, pops the primer out. Primer rolls off somewhere. As you can see, this one has a stupid ass hole in it. So those, I don't remember what brand those were. So anyway, it comes back up, usually sticks in there a little bit, slide it back down. As you can see, got a hole in it. You can also see where it kind of sizes, or at least it makes a mark.
If you move your hand away a minute, you look at the sleeve that just came the hole came out of when you knock the primer out. That is a sizing die too, and
Yes.
that is adjustable by in and out to adjust your sizing in the case.
Yeah. So you can get it to really, you if you want to play with it like I have with this one, you can get it to come down almost all the way to the edge. It still won't get everything, and that's where that other sizing tool comes in handy because it literally just can't do as good of a job as that does. So think of it like a taper crimp versus a stab crimp.
It's a collet set that comes in and has
Yep.
fingers that come in and squeezes everything back to where it should be.
hmm So now I've got this open. And the other nice thing is if your pedals are kind of schmooked, just like resizing your brass will fix your neck and your mouth, it does the same thing with these. So now what I do is I set it over here and I bring it all the way down. And this is where I'll actually make sure I push down a little bit extra. Sometimes it comes back up with it. You can put a little bit of graphite on here. I usually don't because I don't have to worry that much. Um, Unlike what Bench Addict was talking about last week, typically you're not going to measure your depth of seating on your primers on your shot
No,
shells. I don't know, Paul, did you ever?
no, never.
No, doesn't make a difference. At least
Yeah,
not enough. Shot shells by nature aren't good enough to make a difference. So then I slide this in here, and I'm gonna bring it all the way down, and the wad guide comes down with it. Slide that over, and the powder drops. So there's a hole in here that the powder drops down into. I slide it over, and it drops down here. I'm gonna bring this back up, and I'm gonna take my wad. I'm gonna put it like that, and then I'm going to bring it all the way down again. And you'll notice you'll feel the wad stop. So it's a light action. And then I'm going to take and slide that over. It drops the shot down. And then I bring it up. And you'll notice the wad guide came back up. And then if you did it right, is that even close to focused, Paul?
no, no.
I didn't think so. How about now?
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. So now what you can see in there is just about perfect. You can see the pedals along the outside and you can see the shot. And it should be just like that, where it's smooth across like that. If your shot's down too far or your shot's up too far, this will not crimp right. So you got to make sure that that's like that. That's why you adjust that wad setting. So um,
And in the book, it'll tell you a lot of times how much pressure to put down on the wad
yeah,
in order for it to build a load up with
yep,
that hull.
yep. So okay. So now it's the pre-crimp. So I'm going to slide that in like that and bring this down again. And when I bring it back up, what it's done is it's just started to fold that in. By the way, this works great if you want to make shot shell Christmas tree lights. You just throw them in the pre-crimp and they slide right on the light bulbs. Fantastic. So then I've done the pre-crimp, and you'll notice that's kind of all one thing there, and I can just slide it right back there to my start crimp to finalize. And then you look at it, and it's goofy. What the heck did I do? You like that, Paul? You even see that?
Yeah, it looks like he
That's not
had a
up.
bad hole.
Yeah, could be. These have been loaded a couple times. So,
Now,
I mean, in the grand scheme of
guys,
things, it doesn't make a difference because it is sealed. Nothing's coming out.
right? Just so people understand, when you go and put that final crimp in, it does two other operations at the same time. It pushes down on the uh, on the charge to give it an edge, and at the same time, it's putting a taper on the shell so it'll feed through a semi-automatic gun. So it's not only completing the crimp, it's reducing the the fold that's in there, and
Yeah, so it's smushing it this way and folding it so it
right.
feeds in better. So now I'll kind of show you at normal speed. This is about normal. Normally, I also have this clamped down. So watch out, primer comes down. Primer seated. Down. Slap it over powder. Lap that wad in. Down comes the shot. Over for the pre-crimp. Ta-da!
Yep.
So obviously something's not right on my power or my primer feed, but I don't care because I'm only loading 3. So, and here's it again. So this one here actually had sealer on it. I don't know why. Somebody was bored, I guess. That one I actually picked up at the range. So as you can see, it pops out just the normal. Not a big deal. So, and you'll actually get used to doing it with one hand or the other. And as you get used to it with one hand or the other, you find out you can crank them out pretty quick. So, and that's slow, honestly, for me. And then what you do is you get yourself one of these. Right, Paul?
Yep.
And so what you do is you put your shells in like this, and you stack them all up. And then when you're done, you take your empty box, you slide it over the top, you flip this entire contraption over, and you pull this out, shut your flaps. Voila.
I want um case head in, case head out. Um, just because that's
Oh, like this?
the
Like that?
yeah, that's
Okay.
how a box comes.
Right. I
Box of
just,
shell comes. Yeah.
yeah, so they'll be like that. And then, so yeah, you'll have it like this, and so on and so forth. And the opposite way.
Right.
So then it would be like this. And like that.
Yep.
Whoops. No, that's right. Ah. So, and then up and up and up you go. So.
Yep. And then you can slide the box right over the top of it, flip it over, pull the box out. It's done.
Yep. So that is your basic shot shell loading. Other presses will look a little different as far as operation. Next week, I promise you, I will show you how to use the lead load all too. So, you like those, Paul?
Yeah. We gonna do progressive too?
Yep. Yes, Paul. I'm going to bring in the 366
Okay.
and the Ponsness Warren.
Oh wow. We're getting high class now.
Yep, I'm going to show them both off. So,
Pontus, the P&W and the 366 can do between 300 to 500 rounds an hour.
yeah, as long as you can feed them.
Yeah. I actually had my 366s mounted on blocks, so they were above the workbench.
Yeah, I've got it the same way, so you can explain it, and then they'll get a visual of it.
Right.
So.
Because when you start rolling on making hulls and shells, you don't want to stop.
Nope. So. Jeff Daniels wants to know, are there different types of final crimps? I've heard the biggest issue people have is the final crimp, and he says that looks nice. Well, 2 of the 3 look nice. So.
Yeah, there are. You have the 5. You have, excuse me, you have a 6-star and an 8-star. And it depends upon the hull.
Yep.
So, some, you have to look at the hull and decide what it was. So,
I think maybe that was my issue. Maybe that is a 6 that's in there. I don't know. I'll have to look. But anyway, so that's a kind of a better picture of the 3. Yes, I have a new light. So this one was pretty good. This one's pretty good. The middle one's pretty good. This is the one that was goofy. As you can see, it's not as crisp and clean on the canyons there. So this one actually is probably a little deep on the canyons. Brand new hulls, 6 versus 8.
8.
Uncrimped. Go
8.
8. They open easier. They open faster.
And they fold easier.
And they fold a hell of a lot easier, and they're more consistent in their folding. Yeah. So. But. So. Plus 8's a lot more common. 6 was older style.
Usually on paper hulls.
Yeah. So. I don't remember what I did with that paper hull I had around here, but. So.
You don't see many paper hulls that have an 8-point crimp.
No. So he wants to know what skived means.
Skived in a hull means it's tapered. Okay, in other words, the plastic or paper or whatever is in there is tapered from the top down, almost as if it was reamed. And very hard for me to explain this, but it's the skiving is where it becomes thinner up, especially at the case mouth. That way they get a better crimp on that.
Hmm. So it's an actual treatment they do to an existing hull.
Right.
Yeah. So
And you'll find that
it's not molded in.
no, no. If you were to get a new hull and to look at it after, before they loaded it, you will see that inside of the mouth, from the mouth of the case to about oh maybe an inch in, you will see that they spun it to to cut some of the plastic out.
So there's a question I wanted you to answer earlier, but you were off and about. So
I'm sorry, the dog had to go out.
no, you're fine. I didn't see Odor left. I'm sorry, Odor. Bye. So Clifford Zach wanted to know what's the difference between trap and skeet. Oh, he wanted to know the difference between trap and skeet shooting. I thought he wanted to know the difference between loads.
Um, Difference between trap and skeet. Trap is
Oh, here's
usually
no. Wait a minute. Here's yeah, that was Jeff Daniels' question. So yeah, but we can kind of cover it all in once. Sorry, go ahead with the
okay.
difference between trap and skeet shooting.
Um, First off, the shooting. Okay, trap is a 5 station game that uh, you shoot 5 shots at each one with the bird rising from the trap up and away from you, and you shoot one shell at each bird. So you have 5 stations times 5 is 25, which is a box of shells. Skeet. Skeet is a crossing game. In other words, you will have birds going away from you, and you will have birds coming at you and crossing between you as you move through the different stations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 station. I can't remember exactly what it was. Um, but it's giving you a bird or birds at different angles, and also having you shoot doubles on birds at certain stations. So at station 1, you'll have a high house, a low house, and then you'll have a double, which is the high house and low house. Put a combination out for you to shoot. Um,
So Paul, I put up a map that shows a skeet field.
yep,
So on the left is the high house. So that pigeon actually comes out at about 15 feet above the ground. And then the
right.
low house is, does it say on here?
Low house is only about 4 feet. It's
It
coming
says
out.
high house is, okay, so it says high house is 10 above the ground and the low house is 3 at launch.
Yeah,
But they're climbing at both.
yeah.
So
What they would do is there's a in order to calibrate the houses, they take a stick that has a hoop through it and stand it up 5 yards in front of the line, and directly in between the two of them, and the birds will both go through the hoop. So um, at about 20-25 feet tall is skeet, the
so
crossing for the
basically,
skeet.
yeah. So basically, as you can see on the map, um, One is standing by the high house, and then you've got the little inlets there into the field, which is 2, 3, 4, 5. Where the hell is 6?
No, it's you got high house, you got 2, 3, where he's shooting at 3 now,
Yep.
4, 5, 6,
Okay, I miscounted.
7, and then
And then
8,
seven's low house, and then this section in the middle here is 8.
8. And you
Yeah,
shoot
so you're
those
literally
one at a
standing right
time.
there. Hmm?
You shoot those one at a time.
Yeah.
The that bird is crossing just about over your head.
Yep. And each person shoots at the same station, then you move, and so on
Right.
and so forth. So that's skeet, and then this is what a trap house looks like. So you've got station 1 through 5, and that's 16 yards from the trap house. And then it will throw birds in 5 directions. So it'll throw it far right, near right, straight out, near left, and far left. Typically, most of your traps shot from the 16-yard line. Um, when you get into actual trap league, that's when you're going to start moving back.
That's your handicap.
Yep. So, but if you just show up to a club and you want to shoot trap on any given day, you're usually going to be at the 16-yard line. So
Yeah.
that's the difference in the field. So with skeet, you're a lot closer, they move a lot faster, and they're always literally going the same direction. They're either going right to left or left to right. With trap, they can go any of 5 directions, and you got to figure that out real quick. So,
And there's in trap, even though there's 5 directions, they have an interrupter on that trap machine, which means that it could throw 2 to the right side, and then next it can throw to the center, and it 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 will give you multiple different directions of shot depending upon how the the machine is programmed.
yep.
And then there's
So what?
the other one that not too many people understand, which is doubles trap,
Well, there's also
which you're
5
getting.
stand, but I
Well,
don't know if
five
you know
stand
what
is
5
not a
stand.
trap game. Five stand is five stand. That's
Okay,
a
that's different
sporting clays
type thing.
uh type thing. Yes.
Okay. So what's the difference between a trap load and a skeet load? Is there?
Um, a skeet load is going to be 9 shot usually,
Okay.
9 or 8. Okay, nothing bigger than an 8. Um, reason being is you get more pellets in in a smaller size per the ounce and an eighth that you can shoot, or the 1 ounce that you're going to shoot, and you're shooting the gun itself is going to be bored improved cylinder or skeet and skeet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that way you get a wider pattern,
Faster.
and can you you got a lot closer target.
Mm-hmm. So when you shot trap, what choke did you typically use?
It was custom.
Okay.
Okay, it was that for me the way I shot trap, because it was more like a modified to full, and it was also, the gun was set up to be a 70-30 gun.
Okay.
So 70% of the pattern was above the sight, 30% was below it.
Mm-hmm.
And the loads were anywhere from, if I was shooting 16 yards, I could shoot an 8. Didn't bother me. But 7.5 is the largest you can shoot,
Yep.
and 7.5s were, preferred at longer range, longer yardage. Your 19, 20, 25 yards behind the 16-yard line.
Yeah.
So you have to be a
Yeah.
little quicker. You have to, at the farther the ranges are, your setback is, you have to be a little faster on the gun.
Did you
And
change your choke out?
my guns were not interchangeable chokes. That's
Okay.
why,
You had fixed choke.
yeah.
Okay.
Perazzi
Would you
didn't
now
come.
if you had the option?
Perazzi and Ludic came out with interchangeable chokes in the late 80s and 90s. We carried extra barrels with us,
Right.
so we could change out a barrel. Most of the time, it was a 30-inch barrel for 16 yards, but we would change the 32s or 34s for farther back.
Yeah.
So,
Same constriction or a little tighter?
a little tighter, but the longer barrels gave you you didn't so much, weren't able to rifle shoot with one.
Right.
Okay. In other words, the longer barrels, you were able to swing and keep swinging,
Yeah.
which is the key to trap shooting anyway, is to
Right.
keep the gun moving.
Yeah.
Skeet shooting. The interesting about skeet shooting is you have 12, 16, 20, 28, and 410.
Mm-hmm.
So you can shoot that at any of those, at any of the stations there.
Mm-hmm.
And each one is more difficult as you get lower in shot charges and everything. Trap is all 12 gauge.
Yep.
Officially, and so you're kind of stuck with that. Skeet, most of the professionals that shoot skeet, and they're shooting the multiple gauges, they'll have tubes that they'll put in their 12 gauge guns that reduce it down to the 16, 20, 28. What?
I think Carlson makes them.
Riley is the one that we use the most.
Riley does?
Yeah. And you get a little plastic hammer and a what do you call it, and drop it in, tap it. It lines everything up with your ejectors and everything. Yeah. Yeah, that was things we did with trap guns though. Mercury recoil reducers, Magnaport, all that fun stuff. Plus the guns weighed. Oh, I gotta say, a Ludic or a Perazzi were weighing in the close to 10-pound range. So plus the recoil reducer put in.
There are the pictures there, so
Because you're going to shoot if you're any good, you're going to shoot 100 to 150 rounds in a day.
Hmm.
So which means you got 4 or 6 uh, matches to shoot
Yeah.
or rounds. And
Boy, Bradley doesn't give those away, do they?
no,
Anyway, that'd be fun to put in my old hammer gun.
yeah, yeah.
So,
You can get the titanium ones. Yeah,
yeah, put it in my old Damascus barrel, and away we go.
yep. Well, it'll hold it. Doesn't There's nothing to it then.
Right. So, BG and AG wants to know: is it okay to mix 4 and 5 shot for turkey as long as the weight is right? And is it worth it to load 3.5-inch gauge or 3.5-inch 12 gauge for turkey compared to buying factory ammo?
I've never had to shoot a turkey with a 3.5-inch load.
Nope, I've never had to either.
I mean,
As far
I've
as
hunted.
factory ammo, I've got 4 boxes of heavy shot out in the garage for turkey, but they're all 3-inch. So
I
my dad used to shoot them with 2 3/4. So
I shot them all with 2 3/4, and the number sixes never went over number sixes.
yeah, but you got to remember these kids like shooting them at farther distances because they don't want to try and call them in. So,
Well,
um, instead of shooting the turkey at 20 or 25 yards, they want to shoot them at 50 and 60. So,
I don't do cow elks calls. Sorry.
yeah. I think that's Paul Loud that does that. Anyway,
Yeah.
so as far as to answer your question, yes, it's okay to mix 4 and 5 shot.
Yeah.
Actually, Winchester's made a killing off of doing that. But if you know your patterning, that's the key. You got to pattern your gun, and that's why those shots come in handy. Is because people are too damn lazy to take their shotgun out to the range and pattern it.
Well, if
So
I was going to do a mixed load like that, I'd do 4s and 6s.
correct.
4 and 5s are too close together to make a difference. But 4s and 6s, then the 4s are going to be able to range out, past what the longest shot I ever shot a turkey at was 50 yards.
Yeah.
And that was with a 2 3/4 20 gauge with 6s. It died.
I mean, if they really want to shoot far, if you guys are really into that whole shooting turkeys at 50, 60, 70 yards, don't buy 3.5s. Just get yourself some TSS. All right. Suck it up and buy some TSS. Because there's
Yeah, but
plenty of birds been dropped at 70 yards with a 3-inch 12 gauge TSS.
yeah,
So if you really want to shoot that far, so I
but
don't know. That's not me because
I
the pattern
mean,
spends out too much, and I've got too many. I don't like spending time picking BBs out of my frickin' turkeys.
well,
That's why
that's
I
what
shoot them
heads
at
are for.
15 right. That's why I shoot them at 15 or 20 yards.
Yeah,
See,
you know,
I learned that growing up shooting squirrels. You don't. I
yeah,
hate shooting squirrels. I use a shotgun on the squirrels very little. Prefer 22s, but if I have to use a shotgun, I hit them in the head.
same thing
So,
with bunny rabbits.
yep.
You
Now,
hate
bunny
picking,
rabbits usually I use a shotgun,
yeah,
but
but
um,
it's hell picking out pellets out of a bunny rabbit.
oh, and
Um,
if my mom made rabbits for me one time, and she says, I swear to God, if I pick any shells or I pick any pellets out of this, I am going
yep,
to whoop you.
yep,
Guess what? Got a whooping. So, because I told her I got it all out, and then I was confident and cocky about it. So I kind of earned
yeah.
that whooping. But
But cold water overnight tells you where all the pellets are.
Right. And by
Yeah.
the way, if you don't like the gamey taste, soak them in milk. Yes, it actually does work.
Yeah.
You know what's really good? Squirrel
What?
spaghetti.
I've never had that.
Put that
Squirrel,
squirrel meat in.
I've had deep fried squirrel. I've had
Uh-huh.
squirrel stew. I've had a lot of different ways. Barbecued bunny rabbit. Put it on the grill. Um, yeah, smoked. Well, the best is smoked pheasant, but that's
Yeah, that's a whole different game.
yeah.
So yeah, it's okay to mix 4 and 5. Like I agree with Paul though. I'd go 4 and 6. So
Yeah.
Frank, no, I don't like movies about gladiators. Sorry, not a fan. Not a fan of the whole Roman experience. What that has to do with shot shell loading, I have no freaking clue. But um, so Ken says he's seen what double lat buck headshot does with a rabbit at 5 feet. Well, yeah, but you're not supposed to use double lat buck on rabbits.
Yeah.
I've also seen what double lat buck does to a mouse at 2 inches. We helped out the barn cats. It was one of the old fashioned barns where it still had the actual stack rock
Yeah.
foundation, and so the mice
Yep.
would get in there and they'd run up to their hole, and so the cats were getting pissed, and we decided to help out the cats. So I grabbed the shotgun that was in the milk house because every milk house has to have a shotgun in it. 12 gauge with a 18.5-inch barrel with no choke.
Yeah.
And double lat buck. And
Well,
so I watched the mouse run up the wall a couple times and then knew exactly where the perfect spot to shoot it was. Walked over and just smoked it. The only thing you saw was like a couple of bits of fur. That was about it. Cats were happy.
all right.
But
Being Aggie, he says he's had turkeys as close as 5 yards, but I've had them hang up at 60 and 70.
well, shit, that's easy to fix. What?
Yeah.
No. I don't know. He was sitting there licking himself forever, and I tried stopping him. He didn't want to. Sorry. Ali decided he was licking himself, then I guess he decided I had to hack up a hairball or something. I don't know. Maybe he's part cat all of a sudden instead of lab. Anyway, back to the turkey hanging up. That's an easy solution. God, why? It's not hard. So here's the trick, gang. If you have turkeys hanging up, first off, get yourself a buddy. So here's how you work this, kids. The shooter is at about 30 yards, and about 20 to 30 yards behind the shooter. This only works if you've got a funnel that you're funneling the turkeys into. But what you do is you have the caller actually about 20 to 25 yards behind the shooter. So then when the turkey hangs up at 60 or 70 yards from the caller, guess what?
I mean, I've seen them try to hang up on an open field,
Yeah.
a pasture or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't hang around long.
No.
Okay, so most people get frustrated when they hang up at 45, 50, 55 yards,
Yeah.
and they try to overcall the bird.
Yep.
Um,
Just be quiet.
yeah,
I
just
mean,
give them a couple of
honestly,
clucks or something, and that's it.
if you do not have the ability to set up like I'm talking about, then just go absolute silence for about 5 minutes, and then a really quiet cluck or a putt or a purr.
Yeah,
Just one quick one, and then go quiet again.
Just got to try to get his attention. But keep if you keep running and overcalling, a hen doesn't do that. A hen makes a
Yeah.
couple of clucks and that's it. She'll purr a little bit
Yep.
and
If you don't know how to purr, you need to learn how. That is a huge call.
yeah.
So
And the other trick that I've found that if you are buddy hunting and something a bird hangs up out in the middle of the field, um, do an owl call.
yeah,
Have your buddy do an owl call, or you do one for your buddy.
yep. Or a crow call if you've got one too. Because they're not going to stand in that field for long.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like Jeff said, shut up. They will come. They can't take it. And yeah, that's what happens is you start talking even louder, and they're like, it's kind of like when the woman gets cranky and starts nagging on the guy, and the guy didn't want to hear it. Turkey
Yeah.
same way. You start talking more and more, trying to get him to come in, and the turkey's like, no thanks, bye bye. So that's when you go to quiet and ignore them, and maybe like a little putt or a purr or a little, you know, nothing
Yeah.
really loud. That's the key is you want it quiet when you do call. But yeah,
Come here.
they'll be like, wait, what? Oh, here I come. So, oh, look at the puppy dog. Oh, puppy kisses. Oh, excited puppy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
My wife just said, my peace lily is sad. Anyway, so
All right.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the trick there.
Sure.
But
Yeah. Yellow lab, Jeff.
yep, you gotta have labs, baby. So there's
Chipmunk
some
killer.
people that don't think that. Some people think GSPs are the world's best dog.
I like GSPs. I'm sorry.
I like GSPs, but they're not the
Yeah.
best dog.
Well, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm partial to labs. Now, if you're talking, if you're talking strictly hunting dogs, then yes, absolutely GSPs.
Yeah. I
Although if you put the time and the effort, you can train the lab to do everything. I've seen
Oh,
some really awesome pheasant dogs that are labs. So,
they're flushing dogs though.
mhm.
So and I'm a lazy hunter and I like to
You don't
you
want to
know
run.
no uh
That's the only drawback with
a
pulling dogs
lab.
flat. Now, my previous dog, Cody, he was lab in Vizsla, and he would
Mhm.
point
Okay.
because of the Vizsla.
Yeah.
So I was out working with him one day, before I figured out he didn't like flopping birds, um, at one of the local fields, and he looked like just a normal lab, um, until you saw his ears. He had Vizsla ears, which was actually a blessing because I never had an ear infection with that dog ever in
Well,
his whole 16 years. So, which
I
anybody who
can't
knows,
I can't say that with GSPs or labs.
yeah, I mean
And
anybody who has a lab knows ear infections are a problem.
and
Um,
GSPs too.
yeah,
You know.
but yeah,
Uh,
the Vizsla ears, they keep them just enough off the head so you get air in there constantly, or something like that. But
yeah.
but yeah, so I was out there working with him, and he pointed, and there was a guy out there working his spaniels, and
Hmm.
he saw and he saw my lab point, and he goes, "How did you do that?" I said,
Uh,
"I'm good." I said, "No, seriously,
yeah.
he's half Vizsla." So, but but he was absolutely an amazing family dog. So, he was a puppy when we got the boys, and so he and the boys grew up together, and that was just amazing. So there's something about a boy and a dog. So
Oh, well, just kids and dogs.
absolutely,
Uh, you
yeah.
know,
You got the girls and dogs. So
yeah.
um,
I, but
Danny's
it was funny. I had my nephew was over when he was about 4 or 5 years old, and his daddy was upset with him, and because he had done something wrong, and wanted to give him a little, pat on the butt. And the dog got in his face and said, "You ain't touching my kids." Nope. Uh-uh.
yep. Hmm.
Yep. She was brought up with kids and she protected the kids.
Yep. Cody was the same way. So
You know,
it's the only time I ever
but
saw that dog growl. Is we were out for a walk, him and the boys and I, and somebody started saying something to one of the boys, and that was the only time I ever saw that dog growl. But
well, the the GSPs, the one thing the GSPs loved was the pizza guy coming. Okay, so uh, and the other thing is the GSP can hear if can if they're all the way up on the second floor, the farthest room away from the kitchen, a GSP can hear the light come on in the refrigerator. Okay,
I believe it.
and they put their nose up on the kitchen table and they inhale, and the
My
sandwich you
dogs
have
do.
on the other side
I have
slides.
never ever allowed my dogs to put their noses on my table or on my counters.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying the
Yep,
German Shorthair would put his nose on the
I didn't
table,
say that.
inhale, and the sandwich would move. Okay,
Yep.
so
Hey, my dogs aren't angels. There's a reason we've got that really nice heavy wood garbage can. So go.
uh,
Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, the current lab, he's a mutt. He's a lab Australian cattle dog mix with some other stuff in there. He was a rescue. Um, he doesn't like loud noises, so not worth it. It
yeah,
was not worth trying to train it out of him. It just wasn't. So, um, the little one, Russell's favorite, Gracie. I took her actually rabbit hunting twice.
okay.
I never got to shoot, and we went home with rabbits both times.
Uh,
She's fast.
yeah,
So that's that dachshund mix. She's dachshund red heeler mix. But yeah, she's not only is she fast, but she has that dachshund smart. So she knows
yeah.
how to angles and everything. It's like she's a geometry wizard, but she would run down rabbits. Then she'd just grab them, snap their neck, and that was the end of that. So
Yeah,
I did get both rabbits before she started eating them,
that's
unlike
good.
the ones in the backyard.
Yeah,
We don't have nest problems anymore in our yard though, so that's nice. They were dumb. We've had two rabbit nests, one of and both of which they thought they had them hidden. One was in underneath the trampoline when we had it, and the other one was underneath the gas main.
okay.
They thought they had a little hole there. Yeah, she found both. The one nest she found and had taken care of them before I knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the second nest she found about the same time I found her finding the nest.
Uh-huh.
So those had to be dispatched.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um,
anyway,
that happens. That's life.
that's life with dogs. So,
Yeah.
it's
And
one of those things. So,
cats are even worse though.
yes.
You know. Um,
Yeah, we
not a
were talking
cat
about
lover.
that in Discord the other
Yeah.
day about feral cats. So, somebody's got
Yeah.
to come up with a good solution for that that's pleasing to everybody.
Well, down under they have a real problem with it.
Down under, they have a real problem with a lot of things.
Yeah. But
But that's what happens when you take guns away from everybody. So, screw you, Australia.
yeah.
Sorry,
Well.
Rob. Sorry, Vem Jim.
All right then.
Uh,
I
Oh,
think we.
Daniel said, sounds like my male beagle. He's the fastest I've seen. My grandfather's always had beagles, and the dad had the bird dogs.
Yeah.
So, yep,
It's
beagles are
harder
out.
to train bird dogs. Okay.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
So,
Fur. Dog goes after fur without a problem.
yeah,
They understand
that's
that.
innate.
Yeah.
That's part of their nature. Yeah, I spent a lot of time training Cody.
Yeah.
Um, but the nice thing is I had the fenced-in backyard, so I could do a lot of the tracking that way and just create stuff to hide it under and get it. He pointed naturally, so that wasn't a problem. I didn't have to teach that.
Oh, they all
But
point. A good pointer will point naturally. It's just,
yeah, so
it's getting them. It's getting them to hunt the same county you want to hunt in.
right. Well, I cheated. So I took
Okay.
my deer drag harness,
Okay.
and I had one of the nice shoulder ones that straps in the front, and then it's got
Yeah.
the D ring on the back.
Yeah.
And so I made about a 50 or 75 yard rope.
Okay.
So I would hook it to the D ring and hook it to him.
Ah. All right.
So, and it was the nice soft cotton stuff that holds up well, but also um, doesn't pick up a lot of crap. So,
Yeah.
so when he goes barreling through the fields, he wasn't picking up burrs and everything on it. Yeah.
So you just didn't do it the smart way. You get a
What?
logging chain and you put a logging chain on their collar.
Well, I wanted him to be able to run easily.
Oh, they can still run.
I know, but the noise scares the pheasants.
Yeah. Uh,
Anyway. Yeah,
uh,
I wish I had the money to be able to get a dog and send him off to one of the training schools because that's just freaking amazing. So,
yeah.
but
It's what the cost of that is nowadays.
last I heard, about $2,500
Yeah.
just for the training. And if you want a decent dog, you're looking at another 2 grand.
Oh, simple. Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I don't have 5 grand to spend on a dog. So
I mean, 5 grand is the cost of a club nowadays. Okay, to go shoot pheasants,
yeah,
and then to have a dog, to go with it. No,
back to
not
being the
anymore.
sport of kings.
Yeah, I did it for a while. I had club memberships for 5 or 6 years,
Yep.
and that was but the dog was good enough after getting her to slow down that you
Yeah,
know
that's the key.
yeah. I told my wife the first time I took her out, I says, okay, when do I go get buy my horse so I can follow the dog?
I've seen a couple of GSPs. There's a place just east of here, just out by Deerfield. They've got a big area that they it's fun to go pheasant hunting, and I've seen quite a few GSPs come in there and just
Yeah.
good luck catching that dog. So anyway,
Yep.
so as everybody can see, I've got this awesome camouflage
Ooh,
shirt on.
new. That's a new cami.
Yeah, basilisk. So
Ooh.
yeah, I ordered up. This is the big luau shirt. So they are a little size conservative, shall we say. So this is a 5X, but it's actually more like a 4. So
Okay.
so it's a little tight down here, but it fits the rest nice, really nice. Um, so yeah, think of that when you're ordering. But yeah, it's really nice. And then, like I said, here's your original camo pattern. But they've got a whole bunch of camo patterns now. So this was the original, which is Warden. But then they've got Raider, which is the snow camo, Sunspear, which is a desert, Basilisk, which is kind of the green forest, Night's Watch, which is a black camo, Sea Smoke, it's kind of like a marine style camo, Merc, which is a red camo, just cuz. Scout, which is actually based off of the um, legendary sea louse or celos, however you say it, scouts.
Okay.
Then they've got a Ember Storm, which I got to talk to Sean because that's not going to be legal in most states, but it's a blaze orange camo. Winterfell, which is kind of a gray instead of the white Raider.
Yeah.
And then they've got the 80s camo, which is Radical, which I can't really explain. I have to show.
Oh, okay.
That's Radical. So you've got all the Camerado patterns. It just looks like it went through a disco. So,
It blended in Miami well.
yes, you would. That's Miami camo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I was talking with Nick and Ray, and we were talking about getting that specific color and putting the. I've got a Cricket now. Wife's got a Cricket, and so we can make a big reloading podcast logo in white to go on the back. For Shot Show. So, but what actually we're going to do is everybody's going to pick a different color, and then we're going to put the white logo on the back for walking around Shot Show to advertise for Sean. So, plus it just make us stand out. So, because first you see the camo and then you see the Reloading Podcast logo on the back, and away we go. So,
yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice.
so, but yeah. So yeah, swing over to camerado.com. Use code reload for a 5% discount. Check them out. Awesome stuff. So, all right. You got any shout outs, Paul?
No shout outs. It's just been got through F class, nationals with everybody calling and talking. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So, yeah, that was cool. It was just I didn't get a chance to go, but it was cool hearing about everybody and their stories and stuff. And so,
yeah, it was an interesting week, put it that way.
yep.
So, no,
Yeah. So I'm just kind of working on trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to get another steel challenge in. I want to do another one, but we'll see. So,
okay, good.
but I think I might have to shoot for the September one. I'm not sure, but at any rate, thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight. Make sure you swing over to our podcast page. That's where you can check out the link to go to Southern Gals Crafts and find all of our awesome stuff we got popping off around there. We've got the shirts like Paul and Jim. We've got the tumblers, larger size tumblers coming soon. I've been informed. And then we've got t-shirts and hoodies and a can koozie or can cooler, depending on where you're at. Um, so yeah, make sure you swing over there. Support them, support us. If you want to be a Patreon, there's a link on the podcast page for that too. We thank all of our Patreons who help make this possible every month. We do have some monthly costs that helps cover, so thank you. And then also helps to provide fundage to go to, not as much as it used to, but to be able to help cover some of the costs for SHOT and for like NRA or GunCon. So, um, you know,
That's all that's getting more expensive now, guys.
yeah. So, um, I'm gonna try and go to goals next year, which is GOA's
Right.
thing. Sean and the gang were there. I talked to Sean. He says it's kind of set up like an NRA annual meeting, but it's GOA, so it's actually a better organization. So maybe somebody the NRA will get fixed, but we'll see. So at any rate, keep your brass shiny.
Grandpa said, "Don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems."
Make sure you support the Second Amendment, whether it's local or national or state level. Make sure you're supporting those organizations. Make sure you're contacting all your elected representatives and letting them know what you think nicely and politely. If you're wondering how you should talk to them, think you're talking to Grandmama, and she's standing there holding a rolling pin. And if you say the wrong word, she's gonna smack you in the head. Now I realize Gen Z and millennials might not know what that means, but find a Gen Xer or a boomer, and we'll explain it to you. So, at any rate, if you're struggling, 988 or 1-800-273-8255, or if you are active or retired military, militaryonesource.com. Reach out, get some help. It's important. We want you here. We need you here. I know I say that every week. It's not just a bullcrap statement. I'm serious. Um, uh, Nobody wins when you commit suicide because you leave everybody behind here going, wait, what? And then they have to try and figure out A, how they can go on, and B, they kick themselves with what ifs or what didn't I do?
Yeah. But if you have
So
problems, guys, if you have problems, please, please
reach out.
reach out. Do
So
something.
yeah, suicide
Don't.
is absolutely not the answer because I guarantee you, even though you may not think it, there is people that care about you. And then what happens is they have to live with that for the rest of their lives, trying to beat them. They beat themselves up constantly for the rest of their lives, wondering what they could have done to stop it. Don't do that to other people. There is help. It may be a simple fix. It may be a long and arduous process, but for crying out loud, 988 or 1-800-273-8255 or militaryonesource.com and get the process started. Um, you can feel better. You will feel better. Trust me.
Yeah.
I've been there. Okay. So
Yep.
honestly, if it wasn't for my faith in Jesus Christ, I probably would have started a shotgun after I lost my brother and my dad. So, um, and the fact that I was getting help, is a big difference. So make sure you reach out and get the help because it does matter. So thanks everyone and good night.
Good night, everyone.